This month's episode of Flawless TV is all about flowers. I'm in New York City's Flower District on 28th Street. Let's head to my favorite flower shop and pick out some flowers for my Labor Day get-together. So it's wonderful here how you can walk through the flowers and then place it out on the shelf. And I love to do this and really take in my color story of the arrangements I am creating in my mind. And it's Labor Day, so I do want red, white, and blue, but I don't want it to be on the nose. So I'm trying to find colors within flowers that flow between red, white, and blue, but maybe aren't actually red, white, and blue. For example, this flower looks more purple than red, but it will cause my arrangement to move from red to blue, and I think that'll be interesting. Well, we're back from Dutch Flower Line, and look at these tremendous flowers. It feels romantic, and it's got this cascading tonal color change from reds to whites to blues. And I love how it feels like it paints a story both in texture and color. So for the arrangement, we're going to use this gorgeous vase. It's from CB2. And I love it so much because it reminds me of Art Deco. I don't know if it literally is that style, but I just love that style. And because the flowers are feeling so romantic, I feel like I want to use this Deco vase, but to call on maybe the Baroque kind of feel, something really old and romantic. So that's what we're gonna do. I have prepared my vase with chicken wire. It may not be something you have around, but if you're at all interested in flower arranging and regularly flower arranging, it is a great tool to have in your shed. I have filled my vase loosely with the chicken wire. It will allow me to not overpack my florals, but give it great structure, so that they stay in place. And of course, I've added water. If you have one of those, flower packets, the food for the cut flowers, it's wonderful to add that as well. So now to start, I am going to create the base shape of my arrangement. And I am going to make this arrangement asymmetrical, but I still want it to be balanced. I'm imagining a low point almost falling off the side and a high point. And I'm going to work arranging towards myself, although we will still be making the back of the arrangement beautiful as well. But I will continue to rotate my Lazy Susan so you can see what I'm doing. All right, for my base, I'm always going to cut any flower I put in right before I enter the water. This is actually black kale. I love to work with fruits and vegetables, berries. I even have herbs from the garden upstairs in arrangements mixed in with flowers. So here we have this high point. I want to have something low to balance the other side. Now I want to clean up my stems. I definitely don't want any greenery below the water line. Not only will it make the water, kind of smelly and gross more quickly, but it'll also get complicated in the chicken wire. And then as I build this arrangement, it'll be harder and harder to manage getting the flowers in and out. Also, if there's any little nubs along the stem, I want to try and make my stem as smooth as possible because, again, if I try to pull out a rough stem, once I'm underway, it will pull the whole chicken wire out. So I love making flower arrangements specific for an occasion, and not all occasions have the most promising color palette. And I kind of was worried about a red, white, and blue themed color palette because, I don't know, I love, again, the romance, the antiqued look of these tones. So in my mind's eye, when I pictured red, white, and blue for a Labor Day gathering, which I'm having, I wanted to be careful not to be too literal with the red, white, and blue. So this is why I really chose to transition between red, white, and blue. So if you transition between blue and red, you have purple and violet. That's why you have these beautiful hydrangeas that are really more violet than they are blue. And these spray roses with the pink tones, and even how the edge of them has little bits of green. That transitions to this beautiful Queen Anne's lace and the other greenery. So the things are really flowing. And as I shape my arrangement, I'm also going to try and flow that color story. I'm not at all afraid of something really curvy. And even if there was a big jag in my stem, I would absolutely embrace it. You don't want to be afraid of space, leaving space. You don't have to fill everything. And even as I set up the base story of this arrangement, I am still making sure that this kind of natural negative space that is in the middle here, I'm not going to necessarily fill up even at all. Things are going to flop around a little bit, but as I fill in the flowers, everything will have more structure. Let's see how that is feeling. I also don't mind that this leaf is facing down rather than all being so perfectly up and in one direction. It will make it interesting and more natural feeling, like the way you see something when it's growing in your garden. And I hope to create layers of beautiful things so that you almost want to look into this arrangement and have it reveal little secrets. All right, I feel it's very loose and there's a lot to layer in here still, but this is what I'm basically going for. We have a high point on this side and a lower point over on this side. And we will likely go a little higher and we will go a little lower. But again, I want to have some negative space maintained, and overall, even though it's asymmetrical, to balance between. How gorgeous is this color? And even within the bouquet of this flower, there's a range of tone. So I'm really going to use this to transition. And I love even how this one, they're going in all different directions. It's kind of wild. And I don't want to keep all this here, but I want to be thoughtful about how I prune this down so that I can tell that wild story. Sometimes you have to twist and turn as the arrangement gets more full to get them in place, but that's actually great. It allows for more structure. This is really wanting to cascade, so let's just let it. As I fill in more flowers, it's very likely, and I tend to always remove leaves and even flowers that I had placed prior. Oh, and that one broke, so that made its decision for me. Because again, I don't want it to be too full. I want it to feel romantic and whimsical. And the beautiful thing about spending time arranging and playing in such a creative, natural way is that there is no wrong. It's just sculpting. And it can be anything. Looking for really whimsical, like check that out. How gorgeous is that? All right, I need to fill out a little bit more of the empty space that's in the center, really just to cover that chicken wire a little bit more. And then we're close to complete. It almost talks to you, the arrangement, like little flowers tell me they want to be next to something, another kind of flower, or that they need more room. This guy was talking to me. He wants to go right over here, so we're going to let him. I think we're pretty much there. I just want to add a little bit to the front edge here so that it almost puddles onto the table that I will be placing it on. Maybe I'll even have it puddle. Let's see. I'm looking for the quirky shapes, like this. And certain stems, not necessarily Queen Anne's lace, but like tulips especially, you can almost warm the stem in your hands and it makes it more malleable. And this one's actually going pretty well, because I really want it to almost look like it's falling out of the vase. I'll do it and then I'll turn it around to show you. I could literally play for hours. But we're going for flawless, not for perfection. So I think we're done. So we have a story that moves from the violets, which are on the opposite extremes, to the blended violety, reddy, pinky colors in the center, all beautifully balanced by white and green, and of course supported by this stunning vase. Isn't this vase stunning? It reminds me of an urn, but it's also so rich that it's matte black, and I just think that some of these beautiful blooms will look extremely elegant. It also has a little bit of drama, this vase, to me. So I think I'd like to go with the deeper color here, and let's do a monochromatic look. A vase like this, I must say, is also stunning with just branches. Frankly, it can be one branch, and it can be coming out of the vase asymmetrically. If you have a garden, you can take a low branch off a tree and pop it in a vase like this. It's absolutely stunning. You can get this vase on my website. And it's also available at CB2. I'm so honored to be partnering with them for beautiful pieces like this. I have prepared the vase. I filled it with some floral foam just to bring up the base of the bottom a little bit. And I've also put chicken wire in the top. Such a great tool for flower arranging. It will give some structure, even if I keep the arrangement really loose. These blue dyed tulips, I cannot help myself but to work with. So I do want to take some of these extra leaves off. I don't want a lot of greenery below the water line, and I always want to make a fresh cut right before I place my flower in the vase. I always like to start with what the shape overall of my arrangement will be. And I know I want this to be monochromatic. So I'm looking at the blues. We have the black kale, these big hydrangea bulbs. We have a bit of this blue violet flower here. So I almost feel like I want the shape of the vase to be one directional. I think it'll be really well balanced because of the heftiness of the size of this vase. So I'm not sure that the hydrangea is going to work, but let's see what we feel like. Oh yeah, that'll work. All right, let's take these leaves off. I'm almost thinking it'll be the base and that it'll have things coming out of it. It's kind of funny, but I can always cut away parts of this hydrangea. I'm going to keep it as a ball right now. And let's add some more tulips. She's making me smile. She reminds me of like a Dr. Seuss character or something. Tulips are so great to warm the stem with the palm of your hands, and you can really shape and curve. It's very forgiving. Tulips love to drink, so really important to have water ready to add to your vase every single day, because they will drink. And I'm putting these tulips so shallow in here that I may even need to add water twice a day. It's pretty and it's really fun. Before I take off something from this side, I am wondering about adding something high to this side. I mean, there's no wrong. We don't do perfection here, we do flawless. But no, I think I really like the specialness of just focusing on the tulips. And I think it's working pretty well. One more, and we are done. It reminds me actually of tulips after a storm in my garden. They really do go with that flexible stem in the direction of whatever the wind blew them in. And then they perk back up after I water them. I think this will be a very classy Labor Day arrangement for my gathering. Well, I hope that your soul is as full as mine after spending some time with these beautiful plants and flowers. If you'd like to have a vase as gorgeous as this or as gorgeous as this, jump over to my website at flawless.com to buy yours today. Be sure to subscribe for future episodes where you can learn how to make all these arrangements, recipes, and more.